That night, the rain felt wrong. Not the gentle kind that washes the streets clean, but a heavy, suffocating rain that seemed to soak straight into the heart. Ion was riding his motorcycle along a deserted road on the outskirts of the city. His phone was dead. The fuel gauge was trembling near, empty, and there were no lights anywhere around him. Only darkness, wind, and the endless silence of the forest. Without warning, the bike coughed, jerked, and died. Ion tried the ignition again and again, but the engine refused to respond. The rain grew heavier, the cold bit deeper into his bones, and the road felt more lonely with every passing second. Then he saw it, an old building, standing alone by the roadside. As he drew closer, he realized it was a hospital, abandoned, broken, and forgotten. The main gate hung crooked on rusted hinges. Windows were shattered, and vines crawled along cracked walls like dark veins, with no other shelter in sight. Ion left his bike behind and stepped inside. The door creaked, open, releasing a wave of stale air that smelled of rotten flowers, old medicine, and something worse he could not name. The corridor stretched endlessly in. Front of him, a wheelchair lay, overturned near the wall, its wheels slowly spinning as if it had just been pushed. On the floor, faint dragging. Marks led deeper into the building. Ion's heartbeat echoed in his ears as he whispered, "Hello?" His voice bounced back, hollow and empty, as though the building itself was mocking him. He switched on his phone's flashlight and walked forward, each step heavier than the last. On the wall, written in faded red letters, were the words, "Ward 13, do not enter." Ion hesitated, but the storm outside and the growing fear inside pushed him onward. As he approached the door, he heard crying. It was the soft, broken sob of a child, trembling with pain and despair. His chest tightened and he called out, "If someone is here, I can help you." The door slowly opened by itself, without a touch, without a sound. Inside, the room was dim, lit only by a flickering tube light hanging from the ceiling. The bed was empty, but the floor was stained with old, dark blood. That refused to fade with time. A chill crawled up Ion's spine, and suddenly, he felt warm breath brush against his ear. His body froze. Slowly, he turned. Around, a girl stood behind him. She wore a white dress, torn and stained, her hair hanging over her, face in tangled strands. Her eyes were completely black, reflecting no light, no life. Her mouth opened slowly, as if she were about to scream, but no sound came out. Instead, her neck twisted unnaturally, cracking with each movement. The sound echoed through the empty room like breaking bones. In a cold voice, she whispered, "You will die here." Ion's breath caught in his throat. His legs refused to move, as if roots had grown from his feet into the cold, cracked floor. The girl's black eyes stared straight through him, empty and endless, like two holes carved into the darkness itself. The air around her felt colder than the rain outside, colder than death. Who are you?" Ion whispered. The girl tilted her head, her neck bending at an impossible angle. "I was a patient," she said. "Now I belong to this place." Suddenly, the flickering light went out, plunging the room into complete darkness. Ion's flashlight turned on, automatically shaking violently in his hand. The beam swept across the room, but the girl was gone. "A trick of the mind," he whispered. "Just fear." Then he heard footsteps, slow, wet, dragging. They came from the hallway outside, growing louder with each second. Ion rushed to the door, but it slammed shut before he could reach it. He grabbed the handle and pulled. With all his strength, it did not move. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then a soft knock. 1 knock. 2 knocks. 3 knocks. "Ayan," a voice called from behind the door. His heart nearly burst. "How do you know my name?" he shouted. No answer. The knocking began again, harder, angrier. Dust fell from the ceiling. The door shook violently. Ayan backed away, his eyes darting. Around the room, in the corner. Behind a torn curtain, he saw a small door. Without thinking, he ran toward it and pulled it open. A narrow staircase descended into darkness. He rushed down, the door slamming, shut behind him. "Continue!" The air below was thick, damp, and foul. The walls were covered in peeling paint, and the smell of decay was unbearable. His flashlight flickered as he reached the bottom, revealing a long hallway filled with old hospital beds, rusted equipment, and broken cabinets. Every bed was occupied. Bodies lay motionless beneath thin, dusty sheets. Some were small, some were large, some were twisted into unnatural shapes. Ayan's stomach churned. He stepped closer to one bed and slowly lifted the corner of the sheet. The face beneath was his own. He stumbled backward, crashing into another bed. He pulled back another sheet, another version of himself. Every bed held Ayan, alive, dead, broken, bloody. A voice echoed through the hallway, deep and hollow. "These are the ones who tried to leave." He turned. The girl stood at the far end of the hall, her black eyes glowing faintly. "You don't escape this place," she said. "You become part of it." The lights burst on all at once, blinding him. Suddenly, cold hands grabbed his arms, legs, and throat. Countless hands pulled him down into the darkness. Ayan screamed, but no sound escaped. His mouth. The cold hands dragged him across the floor, tightening like chains around his limbs. The hallway stretched endlessly, walls pulsing as if alive. Suddenly, the hands released him. He collapsed onto the cold floor, gasping for air. The lights stabilized into a sickly glow. He stood inside a large operating room. Rusted surgical, tools hung from the ceiling. The floor was stained with dried blood. In the center stood an operating table. On it lay a man. Ayan stepped closer and pulled the cloth from the man's face. It was his father. "Dad?" he whispered. His father's eyes opened slowly. "You shouldn't be here," he said, weakly. "They never let anyone leave." Before Ayan could ask who they were, the lights went out. A single spotlight turned on. A tall figure stood beside the table, wearing a torn doctor's coat. His face was hidden behind a cracked surgical mask. His eyes glowed faintly yellow. "You have arrived early," the doctor said. "Most don't find this place until it's too late." Ayan stepped between him and his father. "Let him go. Take me instead." "You already belong to us," the doctor replied. He raised a rusted scalpel. An invisible force slammed Ayan into the wall. His body went numb. The doctor approached the table, humming softly. "This is your future," he whispered. The blade pressed into his father's chest. Blood flowed. Ayan screamed. The room began to shake violently. The walls cracked. The ceiling groaned. The doctor froze. "No," he muttered. "It's happening again." The floor collapsed beneath Ayan. He fell down into darkness. He landed in a pool of blood inside a small room lit by a single red bulb. Chains hung from the walls. The air was thick with the smell of iron and rot. A voice spoke behind him. "You cannot leave." The girl stood in the corner, her neck twisted, her black eyes staring through him. "You're not real," Ayan whispered. "I am more real than you," she replied. "I died here. So will you." The walls began to shift. The chains rattled violently. The door opened by itself. Beyond it was a larger room, filled with cages. Inside each cage was a person, some alive, some dead, some something else. Their eyes followed him as he walked past. One screamed, "Run!" The lights went out, hands grabbed him, voices whispered, "Stay with us." Then silence. The lights returned. He was alone. On the far wall, written in blood, "You cannot escape." Slow clapping echoed behind him. Clap, clap, clap. A tall man stepped from the shadows, wearing a long black coat. His face was pale, his eyes empty. "Well done," he said. "Most break much sooner." "What is this place?" Ayan demanded. "This place is a memory," the man replied, "and a punishment." "For what?" "For being curious." With a snap of his fingers, the room transformed into a clean hospital corridor. Doors opened, and from each room another version of Ayan stepped out. Children, adults, wounded, smiling, empty. "This is your path," the man said. The versions walked toward him. Ayan ran. The corridor never ended. He tripped. Hands pinned him down. The man appeared above him. "You cannot outrun yourself." A scalpel pressed against his chest. "Now, we begin again." The scalpel touched his skin. Suddenly, a thunderous sound shook. The corridor, the lights burst. The versions froze. Ayan broke free and ran. He fell into a descending elevator. The walls were scratched with claw marks. One button glowed, B4. The elevator dropped violently. The doors opened to a massive, underground chamber filled with hanging chains. In the center was a pit. Inside it were hundreds of bodies. "This is where we keep the ones who resist." The man's voice echoed above. Chains moved. The pit widened. Something inside it moved. Ayan backed away, but the floor beneath him cracked. He slipped, sliding toward the pit. He grabbed a hanging chain, his hands burning as it cut into his skin. From the pit, he heard breathing, deep, wet, hungry. A massive shape rose from the darkness. Its body was twisted, its skin stretched, its face a mixture of many faces. All of them were Ayan. "You cannot leave," it said in 1,000 voices. The chain snapped. Ayan fell. He woke up screaming. Rain was still falling. He was lying on the road beside his bike. The hospital was gone. The road was empty. The forest was silent. His phone vibrated. He checked it. One missed call. From his own number, a message appeared. "You escaped once. You will come back." Suddenly, his phone camera turned on by itself. On the screen, behind him, a girl in a white dress stood smiling, fade to black.